In this video, I will be demystifying AMPLEFORTH, a stablecoin with an elastic supply. So if you've always wanted to know how AMPLEFORTH works, what elastic supply is, what it means for you as an investor when you buy some AMPLEFORTH, what rebase is, how you can visualize this rebase, a lot of tools that you can use as an investor, as well as what you can do with the AMPLEFORTH. For example, you can lock it up in a liquidity pool, earn some yield. And last but not least, I want to share with you a great AMPLEFORTH profit calculator that you can use when you decide to maybe buy some AMPLEFORTH. I also give you my own opinion on what I think about the project, if I think it's worthwhile investing, what you have to pay attention to as a new investor in order to not get wrecked, and maybe some suggestions on what you can look at in order to make the most profit possible. But of course, this is not financial advice. It's all my own opinion, my own research. With that said, my name is Kieran. I'll be your guide on your DeFi adventure to make sure that you stay safe in this space, because there are a lot of scams, hacks, people out there trying to grab your money away from you. And I want to be your map and compass to make sure that you reach your goal in becoming financially independent. So if you're a new viewer of this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because 86% of the people that are watching my videos are not subscribed yet. It helps me out a lot, helps me provide a lot more valuable content for you guys. So yeah, AMPLEFORTH, elastic money supply, a very, very interesting concept. The AMPLEFORTH project has a token and it's called AMPL. And the AMPL token is very similar to many other stablecoins in ways that it tries to follow the $1 peg. What that means is that the AMPLEFORTH protocol automatically adjusts the supply in response to demand. What that means is when the price is high, that means above $1, then the amount of coins in the circulating supply increases to dilute your value. And when the price is low, that means the price of one AMPL is below $1, then the amount of coins in the circulating supply gets reduced, the amount of coins in your wallet also gets reduced, and that is to increase the value of one AMPL. So let me try and explain the elastic supply of AMPLEFORTH with this image. Now, this is an oversimplification. How it actually works is a little bit more complicated, but so you get the general idea of how it works, we'll use this image. So you've got Trader Bob here. He's interested in buying some AMPLEFORTH. He buys one AMPL and it's valued at $1. As you know, the AMPLEFORTH token always tries to follow the $1 peg, like many other stablecoins. However, now the demand increases. A lot more traders are buying AMPLEFORTH tokens. So now one AMPL is worth $2. Now what happens is in the protocol, there's something that's called a rebase. That's when the protocol realizes, okay, now the price is above $1. We're going to have to add a lot more tokens to the circulating supply in order to bring the price back down to $1. So when it's above $1.009, so the amount of coins in the circulating supply increases. In this case, it would double. That means Trader Bob has two AMPLs worth $2 each, worth $1. And since a lot of traders now have a lot more AMPLs, what they will do is they will sell their AMPLs, and this will bring the price back down to $1 because of a lot more coins in the circulating supply. So this is the basic example of how AMPLEFORTH elastic supply works. Let's bring another graphic to highlight a few important aspects. So this is the AMPLEFORTH supply mechanics. This is a very important band, and it is between 95 cents and $1.05. As long as the price is within this band, there's no change to the circulating supply. Now, when the price is greater than $1.05, then the amount of coins in the circulating supply will increase. That means if you've got some coins in your wallet and the price goes above $1.05, and the amount of coins in the circulating supply increases by maybe 5%, then the next day you have 5% more coins in your wallet. Now, the same thing happens if the price goes below 95 cents, then the amount of coins in the circulating supply gets reduced, and the same would happen with your wallet. So if you'd have 1,000 coins, the amount of coins gets reduced by 5%, then the amount of coins in your wallet also get reduced by 5%. Now, this rebase function happens every 24 hours, and you cannot trade during the 2 hours that the circulating supply is changing. Either coins are being added or coins are being removed. Now, an important thing to realize when you buy some AMPLEFORTH tokens is that you will always be having a certain percentage of the market share. What that means, if you buy 1% of the circulating supply of tokens and the tokens increases by so and so much, you will always have 1% of all the tokens in circulation. So the amount of tokens that you own in terms of percentage always stays the same. This is an important concept to keep in mind. So the idea behind the AMPLEFORTH protocol is that it's supposed to be counter-cyclical. What that means is that when the market goes down, the AMPLEFORTH token should act in the opposite way. That means it should go up. Now, if it's actually counter-cyclical, I'm a bit skeptical about that, because now after the market plummeted, the AMPLEFORTH token dropped like a stone as well. Now, there are some charts that show the correlation numbers between many different tokens, and here you've got the correlation between AMPL and many other tokens. So for example, AMPL and ETH is at 0.38. That means there's a very low correlation. That means if ETH goes up, it doesn't mean that AMPL will also go up. The same as if ETH goes down, it also doesn't mean that AMPL will go down. Not like ETH and BTC, which are highly correlated. I think it would be interesting to look at AMPLEFORTH on a much longer time frame to see if it is actually counter-cyclical. At the moment, the market cap is way too small, and the price fluctuates pretty strongly based on very strong supply and demand, and it can't really keep the $1 peg effectively as it should. AMPLEFORTH is indeed a super interesting project. What's also interesting is that the AMPLEFORTH project is named after the protagonist in George Orwell's dystopian book 1984. The protagonist is responsible for translating poetry into newspeak. Fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. So until now, I've only given a broad explanation of how the elastic supply and the rebase works in my first example, and I'd like to share with you some formulas. But don't click away, don't run away, it's not going to be super complicated, and hopefully this will explain in a lot more detail how the elastic supply works and what you need to pay attention to. It's very important when investing that you know why and how much the amount of coins in your wallet are going to be increased or decreased. What is important is the supply delta, and the supply delta means the amount that the circulating supply will be changed. So if it's above $1, that means how many tokens will be added, and if it's under $1, how many tokens will be removed from the circulating supply. So the very basic formula looks like this. So supply delta equal total supply times, in parentheses, exchange rate minus target rate. So if you'd have the exchange rate at the moment, maybe $2 on the exchange, and the target rate would be $1, you do exchange rate minus target rate, close parentheses, divided by target rate. And this would give you the supply delta. So for example, if you've got 1,000, you would have 1,000 is the total supply times $2 minus $1 divided by $1. And that would mean that if the price had doubled, then the supply would need to be increased by 100%. But it doesn't actually work like this, because doubling the circulating supply should the price of AMPLEFORTH increase from $1 to $2 would be a much too large supply shock of tokens onto the market. That's why they have added something called rebase lag. So good explanation here. Correcting the price fully every night can be intense on the market. A lot too many coins would just crash the market, and it would mean that the market would be super volatile every day. In order to dampen the impact and avoid overcorrection, there's a lag applied to the supply delta. So supply delta is equal to supply delta divided by rebase lag, and this rebase lag is set to 10. What that means, if the price is at $2, then the amount of circulating supply will be increased so that the price goes down to $1.80. So a reduction of 10%. And the same that happens if the price is below $1. So thanks to this mechanism, the supply of AMPL's contracts are expands daily unless the exchange rate falls within the band that we talked before, which is between 97 cents and $1.06. Now I'd like to share with you a few tools. All of them are free, and they help you visualize not only the price of AMPLEFORTH, but also the amount that is changing in the circulating supply, which is super important. Unlike many other tokens that have a capped supply, super important to also keep track of the rebase. So what you want to do is create an account on TradingView. It's completely free. Then you click on the second link and you can get the AMPLEFORTH rebase rate code by Trader CGT. So very grateful that he's sharing this with us. You can scroll down and you can copy this code. And then you open up a new window. You just type in AMPL and then you can select USDT from KuCoin. And then what you want to do is you scroll down and click on Pine Editor. This will now open up this editor window, and here you paste in the previously copied code. And then you can just click on Add to Chart, because with a free account, you're only limited to 3 indicators. So make sure you've got less than 3 indicators. Then when you've clicked on Add to Chart, you see the AMPLEFORTH rebase rate on your chart. You can change the colors if you don't like the original colors. I think I've changed them to make the red more prominent. These are negative rebases and the greens are positive rebases. That means the greens are where the amount of coins in the circulating supply increased. So in this case, it would, on the 26th July, increased by 15%. And on the red days, it means that the amount of coins in the circulating supply decreased by a certain percentage. In that case, on the 18th of August, it decreased by 4.7%. This is great because then you can see how many days there have been negative rebases. This is super useful if you want to create a trading strategy with AMPLEFORTH, because unlike with many of the other tokens, here you have to keep track of the rebases to make sure that you're not bleeding coins when there's a large amount of negative rebases. But we'll look at what you might also want to look at a little bit later on in the video. So here are a few additional important information concerning the rebases. So the rebase period is between 1:59 a.m. Universal Time to 2:30 a.m. Universal Time. So during this period, you cannot trade. And I highly recommend, if you've got any open orders, buy or sell on maybe Binance or KuCoin, then close them during this time, as you're not really sure what's going to happen after the rebase has happened. So trading will be paused on most exchanges during that time. A highly useful dashboard that I recommend that you use is on ampleforth.org/dashboard. Here you can see when the next rebase is going to happen. That means in 9 hours and 6 minutes. The Oracle rate at the moment, which is at 68 cents, and the price target, which is at $1.14. So here also you got the historical price information. And yeah, it's considering that AMPLEFORTH is supposed to be a stable coin, it definitely has had a very volatile past, and I don't see that this volatility is going to go anywhere. So here you can see the supply, which is super important. You can look at 1 year, and yeah, at the beginning of the year, the supply was super low at 90 million. So people that managed to buy a lot of AMPLEFORTH during that time have definitely had 10,000% or more gains, which is fantastic. And people that bought all up here when the supply was at 779 million, well, they basically got wrecked, which is unfortunate, especially since a few larger YouTubers have been promoting AMPLEFORTH, especially during this period here. Yeah, definitely not good. So if you're interested in buying AMPLEFORTH, what I'd recommend is that you look at the supply and you maybe find a moment where the supply is relatively low. So you could look at maybe 90 days and definitely look at maybe the 367 million coin supply, as that looks like it's support level, and you can maybe check and see if it bounces off of this 367 million coins support level, as well as maybe consider when you want to start buying. Do you want to start maybe buying during the band, when the price is in this band between 97 cents and $1.06, because that means during this band, within this price band, you will not have any positive or negative rebases. That means the coins in your wallet will not change at all. However, if it's below $1, you buy 1,000 coins. For each 24 hours where it's below $1 or below 97 cents, you'll be losing coins every single day. It's super risky in my opinion. However, you can make massive profits if you time the market correctly. What you could also do if you've already bought some AMPLEFORTH or you're thinking about doing it is you can use this fantastic calculator, AMPLECalc.app. I'll link it down below. What you can do is you can add the date when you bought the AMPLEFORTH tokens, the price that you paid, and the amount of AMPL tokens that you received. And when you do that, it will show you a graph of how much you have profited during that time. So for example, if you'd invested $114 on the 8th of June 2020 and you'd bought 100 ampers, then you would have profited 1,286%. However, most likely if you had bought in the last 2 weeks, then you'd be down by maybe 80 or 90%, which is very unfortunate. So it's definitely a risky project. Definitely not for anyone that is risk averse, someone that just wants to buy some tokens and profit in the long run. I think it's not really a long-term hold, especially with such a high market cap or such a high amount of coins in the circulating supply. What you can also do is if you've got some coins, you can provide some liquidity. The AMPLEFORTH project has something called Geyser, and here you can add some liquidity in the form of 2 different tokens. So depending on which liquidity pool that you choose, you're going to have a mind-blowingly high APY that you can earn per year. So 180%. For AMPLECOMP, it would be okay, there's no liquidity for that, but for example, AMPLEYFI is super high, it's 90%, and AMPLEY-curve, it's also very high, it's 497%. So if you're already going into a super risky project such as AMPLEFORTH, then it might make sense to hedge against the negative rebases by supplying liquidity on Geyser. I mean, you're already going into a risky project, then why not increase your profits by providing liquidity? What you can also do is you can provide liquidity through Mooniswap if you prefer that. So on AMPLEFORTH or Geyser, you can use different wallets. You can use MetaMask, Wallet Connect, Coinbase, and Ethereum. Very easy. You have to have both of the tokens. You have to have AMPLEFORTH and Y-curve or whatever other liquidity pool that you choose. You can also provide liquidity on the new Mooniswap exchange by OneInch.exchange. And here as well, you can connect with a various array of wallets: MetaMask, Wallet Connect, Coinbase, Wallet Formatic, and Portis. So yeah, my opinion on the project is super risky, especially if you don't know what you're doing. I know there's many other YouTubers that are saying that this is a moonshot project. I feel like you have to get in at the right time when the amount of coins is low, so maybe under 200 million coins or under 100 million coins. Then you have to be able to weather the negative rebases that will be happening when the price of AMPLEFORTH is below $1. So every day, for example, now it's probably going to be having negative rebases for the next few weeks unless the price goes above $1. So yeah, that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. I will gladly answer them. With that said, I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.